So, what do you say? 2 years ago, on this very day, I posed this question to the #1 most grateful person I have ever met. Now, Father Jenkins, I know what you're thinking, and believe me, you were a close second. But my question, unlike most Notre Dame students' questions, didn't lead to straight A's, founding a not-for-profit, or writing a Common App essay about how I somehow saved the world from a rare disease just by saying thank you. My question did, however, lead to a thank you revitalization, complete with a Clifford the Big Red Dog-sized thank you note, a 12-foot mural of a 103-year-old woman, and a whole lot of thank yous. In fact, my close friends and family can tell you that I don't just say thank you when I show gratitude. I say it a minimum of 3 times, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if I'm really feeling it, I'll throw in an I appreciate it, and seriously. But do I mean it? I mean, I said thank you, right? Not quite. And this small-scale example is symptomatic of a much bigger problem. Today, we've become habitual about throwing around the phrase thank you. And when others say it to us, we hardly say you're welcome. We just nod, or smile, or grunt. That one's my roommate's favorite. Moreover, we say thanks with the same mundane 2 words that have been used for centuries. And while the phrase used to express gratitude, appreciation, even recognition for selfless service, thank you has become nothing more than a conversational go-to that rolls off the tongue easily, too easily. And so I ask, what if thank you were more than 2 trite words? Nowadays, we throw thank you around in areas of life that we shouldn't, using it and abusing it, and this is my concern, which is exactly where we'll start. First, by examining the implications of a culture that is taking the thank out of thank you, looking at what happens when we mindlessly mutter our gratitude. And second, explaining core connections, how saying thank you is more than a practice of gratitude, it's a healthy lifestyle, before finally finding some solutions and asking just what Clifford and a 103-year-old woman have to do with gratitude in the first place, so that we can ditch the mundane thanks and brainstorm revitalized ways of thanking friends, community members, even parents. So, what do you say? Here's the fact. Each year, the average person says thank you a whopping 5,000 times, but is it meant? Well, in July 2012, Japanese broadcasting giant NHK launched an online survey asking the Japanese if they'd noticed arigato, the Japanese word for thank you or gratitude, taking on a different meaning in day-to-day conversation. The findings? Not so good. The study found that much like the English phrase thank you, arigato had evolved into a simple stock phrase. Here's an example. A boss waving a document at an office worker and demanding, I need 50 copies of this by lunchtime, might not expect that worker to respond with a rousing, thank you, grab the document and sprint to the copy machine. That would be one high-strung intern. But that's exactly the kind of Japanese culture shift that the study found with regard to thank you. And the buck doesn't stop in Japan. Back in the States, the polling firm Penn-Schoen-Berland asked a representative population of over 2,000 United States citizens about their gratitude practices. The results were unprecedented. To begin with, over 90% of those polled agreed that grateful people led richer lives, were more fulfilled, and even had an easier time making friends. Sounds pretty good to me. But less than half of these same people reported expressing any kind of gratitude on a daily basis. Moreover, only 15% reported saying thank you to friends and coworkers. Speaking of coworkers, bosses were placed in the category of to never be thanked by over 35% of those polled. The study concluded that less than half of people were very likely to thank salesman, the postman, cleaning staff, but can you guess the category of worker that was the least likely to be thanked? I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with, what do you say? That's right, the TSA. TSA screeners were reported very likely to be thanked by a whopping 22% of those polled. In essence, the study found that gratitude is enormously important to United States citizens. And yet, these same people reported feeling and contemplating gratitude way before actually giving it. And this is alarming, if not downright frightening. If parts of the world are devolving thank you into an affirmative phrase that's thrown into their lexical grab bag, and still other parts are reported thinking and feeling this thanks way before actually giving it, then we have a problem. And the solution starts with a total overhaul of how we look at thank you. But before we explore solutions, let's take a step back and explain how saying thank you can make us all healthier, building within ourselves a strong constitution that fights the dilution and pollution of the heartfelt contribution that is the thank you revolution. So let's talk health. What do you say? Here's the fact. Those who practice gratitude sleep longer, exercise more, and even report a drop in blood pressure. Now, that's a quote from Dr. Robert Emmons, a psychologist at the University of California and author of the book, Thanks, How Practicing Gratitude Can Make You Happier. I'd read that book. According to Dr. Emmons, thinking daily grateful thoughts can boost your happiness by as much as 25%, while keeping a daily gratitude journal for as little as 3 weeks can deepen your sleep and boost your immune system. And there's more. Dr. Emmons divides these health benefits into 3 categories: social, psychological, and physical. It turns out that making thank you more than 2 trite words can boost your immune system, lower your blood pressure, and increase the number of positive thoughts and emotions that we all experience on a daily basis. So, how can we revitalize our attitudes of gratitude to give latitude in this state of Thanksgiving platitude? Well, the answer lies back in the beginning of this talk. So let's rewind and explore just who that number one most grateful person I've ever met is, what we were able to accomplish with regard to this thank you revitalization, and find an answer to my burning question, what do you say? Here's the fact. ThankBank is a student-led organization that thanks outstanding community members for their gifts to the community with creative thank yous. Now, 2 years ago on this day, I founded ThankBank with the help of Mrs. Allie Morgeson, a former English teacher at Noblesville High School and all-around gratitude guru. On that day, I walked into Mrs. Morgeson's classroom, pitched her the ThankBank idea, asked, "So, what do you say?" And ThankBank was born. Over the last 2 years, we've thanked the socks off of numerous community members, including a special thank you to Mrs. Isabel Harger, a 103-year-old matriarch of my hometown community who has volunteered over 50 years of her life with organizations such as the Red Cross, Tri Kappa Kappa, Riverview Health, First United Methodist Church, and many more. And even though it took ThankBank over 1.5 years to complete Mrs. Harger's thank you, it was totally worth it to see the smile on her face and the tear in her eye. In July of last year, ThankBank surprised Mrs. Harger with a 9-foot by 12-foot mural of her seated on her family's farm, surrounded by the things most dear to her. ThankBank's newest project was inspired by our members' love of animals and my childhood fascination with Clifford the big red dog. Now, while I've never seen a thank you note the size and shape of Clifford, I don't think the local Humane Society has either. And we're willing to bet that they deserve a thank you bigger than all of the animals they've saved and sheltered over the years. Now, if we can only figure out a way to fit it through their front door. Over the last 2 years, ThankBank has thanked numerous volunteers, educators, administrators, students, and so many more. But in preparation for this TED Talk, I realized that there was somebody I hadn't thanked. Or more importantly, 2 somebodies. My mom and dad.
Hi, Mom and Dad. After thinking long and hard, I realized there was nothing I would ever say or do that could ever thank you properly. So I enlisted some help. Mom, it's no secret that you love your children the most, including the 30 that you teach in your kindergarten classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, sisters. Listen up. This is how you make thank you more than 2 words. Thank you for being my teacher. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being our teacher and making sure this man is awesome. We challenge you. Make thank you more than 2 trite words.
And Dad, it's no secret that you love nothing more than the creativity and the craftsmanship of your children and the Indiana artisans whom you serve as director of. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for your leadership with the Indiana Artisans.
For your generous enthusiasm and your support.
For your vision and your heart for Indiana Artisan.
Thanks for being the best cheerleader in the whole world.
You have really made me feel like I made it as an artist, and I appreciate you so much.
If it wasn't for you, Indiana Artisan wouldn't be a success, nor would we have the success that we've experienced.
Thank you, Eric, for all of your hard work.
Indiana Artisan wouldn't be anything without you. We're all so grateful and we love you.
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
So, what do you say?